Welcome to Studio D on the campus of the University of Oklahoma. This is Sooner Sports Pad. And now, your host, Tori Johnson.
Welcome back to Sooner Sports Pad. I hope you all had a great spring break, but we're ready to be back. We've got a great show for you guys today. I'm here with Sam Brown and Lauren Linville. Who else is with us today, guys?
Yeah, we have a lot of loud Lindsay and Asp people and Gaylord College students. We're excited they're here.
Yeah, they're very excited, and they should be because we've got two members from the men's gymnastics team. Levi Anderson and Jake Maloney are in the house tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Later on in the show, Lauren and I will talk about who is the MVP on the diamond for the Sooners this season.
Plus, our very own Christian Nunley takes us on a journey back to the best offensive line in the country.
Well, the women's gymnastics team ended their season pretty rough, and they lost the Big 12 championship for the first time in 7 seasons. But April Fools, no they didn't, they won. They stuck the landing this regular season and won the Big 12 championship for the 8th season in a row. That's not all. The team also locked in the #1 seed in the nation, heading into the postseason with 16 members earning All-American honors, which is also the most in OU's history. Since their heartbreaking loss in the NCAA Finals last season, this team has hit the gas with no signs of slowing down. The Sooners will compete in regionals this weekend to make another run for gold, and Lauren has some individual stats for this team.
Yeah, let's break this down a little bit. That's the Sooners' 12th Big 12 title in program history, and this time it was a big thanks to them taking home 3 of 4 event titles, and Maggie Nichols, she dominated on beam and bars with a pair of 9.95 scores, while freshman Olivia Troutman won floor with a 9.975, and then sophomore Carrie Thomas had her best bars routine to date with a 9.925, and then Anastasia Webb was the Sooners' all-around contender with a 39.55. But the biggest part of this was the conference awards announced right after. Senior Brenna Dow was named Big 12 Gymnast of the Year, Troutman claimed Newcomer of the Year, and junior Jade Dagovea got Event Specialist of the Year for the first time. And like Tori said, they have regionals this weekend, hoping to advance to the national championship. I think they'll win it all, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean that's an easy pick to make. I think you can be pretty confident in that one.
Pretty fair to say.
Yeah, there's no doubt the women's team has been killing it, but since we have a couple men's gymnasts in the house, I got to talk about how well they've been doing too. They recently squared off against number 11 Cal and number 18 Illinois Chicago, and as per usual, they dominated. Best road score of the season, and they won the meet by over 25 points. The Sooners won every single event on the day. They were led by Yul Moldauer, who only competed in 4 events, but took home victories in 3 of those, with wins on the pommel horse, rings, and parallel bars. Our guest Levi Anderson got a win of his own with a 14.870 on the high bars. And then you tack on wins by Gage Dyer on vault and Vitaly Guimarães on the floor, and that's a sweep for the Sooners. Easy as that. For those of you who have lost track, I know I have, that's 113 straight wins for Mark Williams' squad. And now they got postseason play coming up starting this weekend with the MPSF Championships right here in Norman, Oklahoma.
Jim U.
Well, Sports Pad's Madeline Roberts caught up with a member of the OU Palm Squad for this week's Mad Minute. Let's take a look.
Hi, welcome to Madeline's Minute. I'm Madeline Roberts here with Sabrina Erdman. She's a second-year sophomore on the Palm Squad. Sabrina, how you doing today?
I'm doing super great. How are you?
Good. All right, let's get started. My first question for you is, a lot of people don't really know about Palm and what they do. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So a lot of times people get kind of Palm and cheer confused. So the best way I describe it is Palm is 100% dance-based. So we all come from a dance background. And when you're looking on the field, we wear the kind of sparkly, little smaller uniforms than cheer. So that's an easy way to tell.
So what's your favorite event you've performed at while at OU?
So I've only been on the team for 2 years, but this year I got to travel with the men's basketball team to Columbia, South Carolina, and perform at March Madness. And it was the environment, the excitement, everything. It was the most amazing thing ever.
So in January, your team placed 5th in the College Game Day Dance Nationals. What was that like?
Well, we really cherish the game day category. It's actually a new category. Game day is something that we're doing, every Saturday for football, day in and day out for basketball. So in order to bring that to a national level and compete it is just super rewarding.
One last question. What's your favorite sport to perform at?
Basketball, 100%.
Confident. I like it.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's all the time we have for you. Thank you. Thanks, Sabrina.
Thank you so much.
Looking ahead to this week's Sooner Sports schedule in Norman, the baseball team is at home against ORU. But if you don't have a chance to catch them Tuesday, they're staying at home this weekend with a mini-series with TCU. The Sooner softball team will play Friday, and the men's gymnastics team kick off postseason with their final meet this season in the McCaslin Fieldhouse. Like I said, the softball team plays at home on Friday, and you won't want to miss them. This team is on fire. Lauren, what makes them so special this season?
Yeah, the Sooner softball team does not stop. They traveled this weekend to Utah to pick up 2 run rule victories to advance their streak to 22 consecutive wins. The first game was an 11-2 win where sophomore Lindsay Elam went 2 for 2 with a career-high 4 RBIs and a home run. Kaylee Clifton hit a home run too, while Shannon Sales and Giselle Juarez combined for 7 strikeouts. And then in game 2, the Sooners dominated 13-3 in 5 innings, scoring 13 runs and 16 hits. And then Clifton tallied in 2 more home runs, while Johnson Allo and Nicole Mendez hit one themselves. And the ladies really stood out in the 4th inning, scoring 10 runs. And then Mariah Lopez and Nicole Mendez combined for 5 strikeouts in game 2. And like Tori said, the Sooners are back home this weekend for a matchup with the Bears of the Big 12. So show up, be there. They're a great team. Number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Impressive.
Very electric. They're a lot of fun to watch. They've only got a couple home games left, so you got to make the most of it. It's not often you hear me or anybody really pay attention to the women's tennis team, but they are really a team that I think deserves a lot more attention because they are really starting to pick up some steam. They just swept the Baylor Bears 7-0 over the weekend in their final home meet of the year. Martina Capurro and Camila Romero kicked things off with a 6-0 win on doubles, and then Jasmine Asgar and Ivana Corley completed the point with a 6-1 win in their doubles match. Corley then followed that up with a 6-0, 6-1 victory on singles, and Alexandra Korshvili, there's a name for you guys, she beat her 6th ranked opponent of the year with a straight set win of her own. This team is just creeping on a top 25 spot, and they've got a couple matchups down the stretch where if they can pick up some wins, really start to pick up some momentum, they can make a lot of noise during championship season. But next up, they travel to Wichita, Kansas, Saturday to take on the Wichita State Shockers. So,
2
really
women's teams doing great.
Exactly,
Love to see
yeah.
it.
Well, up next, we'll hear from a couple national champs from the men's gymnastics team, and we're going to take a little trip back and rewind to one of the best offensive lines in college football. You won't want to miss it. Welcome back. Now it's time for Sooner fans to remember one of the most dominant offensive lines in college football. SportsPad's Christian Nunley has more on how they plan to continue that legacy and the one young prodigy that remains to lead the way.
In 2018, the quartet of Ben Powers, Bobby Evans, Drew Samia, and Cody Ford started all but one game for the Sooners. Creed Humphrey, the redshirt freshman, was new to the squad but meshed right in with the veterans.
All 4 of the guys, Ben, Cody, Bobby and Drew, they were all just like big brothers to me, so just growing up with them, they're always there to help me with anything I needed, so, they had a huge impact for my growth and everything.
Their efforts garnered them the prestigious Joe Moore Award, given to the best offensive line in the country.
You guys won this pretty big trophy behind you. How special was that?
Yeah, dude, that's the highlight of the year for me, just because that just shows, all the work we put in together, it showed off, being the best line in the country, Not everybody can do that, there hasn't been too many people that win it, so of course it's awesome for us.
Notable analysts deemed them one of the top units in recent years.
They were, in my estimation, the best offensive line in the country. They did everything well. Kyler was rarely touched in pass protection. They were a great run blocking team. They ran that gap scheme with the counter, the 2 pullers coming around. They were terrific.
This wasn't an overnight process.
Just the dinners we had every week with each other. We'd always go to dinner on Thursday nights as a lineman. We did Wednesday nights with Kyler. So just, those, just hanging around, just talking it up, just, being like a family.
This group gave Kyler Murray the opportunity to become Oklahoma's 2nd straight Heisman-winning quarterback.
To my boys back home, my linemen, Bobby Evans, Ben Powers, Creed Humphrey, and Drew Samia, and Cody Ford. Man, you guys keep me upright, you keep me safe. You may hurt my pockets on Wednesday at T Cafe, but I'd run through a wall for you boys, man. I love y'all.
Very few teams in the country can say they've had this dominant a front five.
You know, special group, you don't get a bunch of guys like that, you know, throughout your career. So, you know, when you get it, you know, you cherish it and, you know, you have fun with it.
Their work ethic, dedication, and love for the game made them easily coachable.
This was one of the easiest groups that I had to coach. So, you know, a pleasure to coach them and, you know, going to miss them. But now we're moving on to, you know, some more guys, and those guys are going on with their career.
4 offensive linemen on the way to the draft. Unheard of.
I can't remember the amount of times, I'd say 10 times total, maybe 15, that 4 guys have gone to the combine. I think it's the first time it's happened in the past 10 years. Not totally sure on the numbers, but obviously that means it's rare.
Replacing them, however, won't be such an easy feat.
That's going to be tough, but nobody cares, you know what I mean? I mean, it's my job to make sure that this unit, that whoever's out there playing, whoever's out there starting, this unit performs at a high level.
So as the old adage goes, out with the old and in with the new. But their decorated legacy won't soon be forgotten.
There's not too many units that have been like us throughout college football, so I think we're one of the best to do it in a long time.
Tune into the NFL Draft Thursday, April 25th to see where this once-in-a-lifetime group will end up. Christian Nunley, Sooner Sports Pad.
Now it's time to hear from our guests, Levi Anderson and Jake Maloli.
Thanks for coming. Glad you're here. They're excited.
We'll give them a second to calm down a little bit. All right, now that we can talk to you guys, and you can hear us, and man, you got to start off talking. Every single year, it seems like we ask you this question. You guys are still top of the rankings heading into the postseason. It's been that way for most of the season. How does it feel to be at that ranking, and what does that mean for you guys moving into the postseason?
I think every year it's the same kind of thing. You know, we look to just continue to almost make Oklahoma happy and fit the Oklahoma standard of success, and that's, you know, every athletic program here, everyone here is fantastic. So just kind of matching that same success.
Yeah, I mean, the way I kind of look at it is, you know, it doesn't mean anything until, you know, NCAA's. So, I mean, it's nice to have, and we get our choice of event we get to start on for conference, and then hopefully for NCAA championships as well, but you know, until then, it's just a number, and we got to still go out there and do all the work. So.
Good answer. All right, well, kind of playing off of that, you have the NPSF championship at home this weekend. What's kind of the key to that going into the national championship? I see you have your national championship rings on. Can you show us? Let's see. Oh yeah. What's the key to this to get, you know, to the national?
I think the biggest thing is just realizing that Stanford is good. They're going to come out, and they're going to come out ready to play. And this is our house. We're here to protect it. I think the biggest thing, though, is just realizing that and taking it as it is what it is, and just being excited to kind of go out and get the job done.
Yeah, good answer. Now, Jake, a little bit of a fun fact for those of the people that don't know. You're actually a part of the Naval ROTC here, and you were granted a 5th year of eligibility by the Corps. Can you tell us a little bit about just what that experience has taught you and what it's meant to you?
Yeah. Well, when I first kind of talked to my coach, head coach Mark Williams, about it, you know, he pitched it to me and seen if it was even an option. And then when I went and talked to the Marines about it, it was, I mean, kind of like a door slammed shut in my face. Like it wasn't going to happen. But you know, through a series of events, like it ended up working out, and you know, I'm beyond happy. You know, so blessed that it did, because I've gotten to, you know, take one more ride with this idiot, and it's been great. I mean, I wouldn't give up this team, or this program, this sport for the world. So
that's awesome. Great. Yeah. Well, I think Tori has an audience question for us.
Yeah, that's right. I'm here with my friend Taylor, and she has a quick question for you guys. What event scares y'all the most?
Vault. No questions asked. Yeah, vault. Because it's like you're running down as fast as you can to potentially like a career-ending injury.
Nice. Well, I only do.
So my vault.
I always say I do 1.5 events now. I do rings and kind of floor, but I'm really bad at it. But high bar was the worst event ever. I hated it.
Okay, well, that's it for right now, but whenever we come back, it'll be time for our analysts to face off. You won't want to miss it. Let's go!
Thanks to our cornerstone television partners, OU Medicine, Anheuser-Busch, OU Extended Campus, and our community partners, Landers Auto Group, Devon Energy, Coca-Cola, and OU Medicine.
Welcome back to Sooner Sports Guy. It's time for Face Off. And these two have already been talking a little bit of trash, so I think that they're ready to go.
I'm very excited.
I'm
This
going to
will be
let
fun.
Sam win today. April Fools! Calm down.
April Fools.
Got me
She got
there.
us. Okay, well, face-off question number 1. Who is your MVP of the Diamond?
All right, well, I'm going to go with the softball player here, number 34 from Oceanside, California, Fale Aviu. She's a girl that's been consistent in all 4 years here as a Sooner, and she's always someone to rely on. She's batting .427 right now with 6 homers and 41 hits on just 96 at-bats, plus 25 RBIs, and she's only been struck out 3 times so far this season. Plus, she's not too shabby on the field either, with no errors and 46 putouts. And she started every single game but one. She's ranked in top 10 in the Big 12 for hits, runs scored, and total bases. She's a weapon for the Sooners, and they would not be where they are right now without her.
That's a good pick. That's a good pick. That's a good pick. I'm going to stay with the softball team for my pick. And last year was Jocelyn Allo, who was smacking home runs left and right. This year it's Sydney Romero, who has been unstoppable. She has improved immensely over the offseason, and it shows. Check this out. Romero leads the Big 12 in home runs with 13, top of the conference in RBIs with 34, and she also leads the conference in runs scored and slugging percentage. The senior third baseman was on fire this weekend as well. She added 3 more hits and 2 more RBIs in that season sweep against Utah that Lauren talked about earlier. There's a reason Oklahoma is 3rd in the country in offense. Her name is Sydney Romero. She is unbelievable.
Poor baseball.
Poor baseball. They know they're good.
Okay, well, March might be over, but the madness isn't. And I'm back over here with Taylor, who's got another question for you guys about that.
What's up, Taylor?
Who will be playing in the NCAA championship game?
All right, good question. Good question. Well, I have to go with the 2 upsets in Auburn and Texas Tech. I really like Auburn's tempo in this tournament. They've been able to prove themselves so far. They dominated Kansas and UNC. Bryce Brown is unstoppable. Their defense has made major strides in this tournament. They have no problem scoring. At the end of the day, they're better on offense. And then this is the only time I'm going to say it, but Wreckham Tech, the Red Raiders, biggest competition this tournament has been Gonzaga, but they look really good in that 75-69 win. Jarrett Culver is absolutely unstoppable, probably one of the best in the NCAA right now. And so give me the Red Raiders, give me Auburn, but really quick, from the audience, can we give a quick shout out to the Sooners who made it to the 2nd round of the tournament?
That's easy.
Yes! Yes!
Yeah, it sucks that season ended with the loss to Virginia, but a good season nonetheless. I'm going to agree with you on one side. I think Texas Tech is going to beat Michigan State, and I know you're a big Auburn girl, but I got to go with the best team left in the tournament. That's the Virginia Cavaliers. They're going to move on to the national championship.
That was a quiet cheer.
Well, let's start with Texas Tech first. You talked about it yourself. Jarrett Culver is a stud. He might end up in the top 5 in next year's NBA draft, and I think they're more balanced on both sides of the ball than Michigan State is. They've got weapons like David Moretti and Matt Mooney, and I think they're going to edge out the Spartans. Now, it's crazy that just 1 year ago, they lost to a 16 seed for the first time ever, and now they're in the Final Four, but the truth is, the Virginia Cavaliers deserve to be in Minneapolis. They have arguably the best defense in the country, and they've got guys like Kyle Guy and Ty Jerome who can hit shots as well. So I'm going Virginia, and I'm going Texas Tech, and I'm going to see it's going to be the battle of the 50. It's going to be a defensive showdown.
At least we agree on one thing.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, well, now it's time for your final step in face-off viral video. Show me what you got, Lauren.
All right, well, after Duke lost yesterday, I think that this video perfectly represents how everybody's feeling about their bracket. Check it out.
No! Every year they blew it for me. Every year they blow it. Shut up, Rudy.
That's the best part. He's yelling at his bird like he was a pet bird.
I mean, that was my bracket too, so we'll live. Now, you may remember a guy, Trey Young, last year was lighting it up. No-look passes, 3-pointers from the logo. He had a little bit of a rough start in Atlanta, but since the All-Star break, he has been unbelievable, and that continued this weekend against the Milwaukee Bucks. Check this play out. We'll break it down for you real quick. Overtime, 1 second left. Ball's thrown up there, deflected. Trae Young's just going to toss it up, and that'll drop. That's a win against the best team in the NBA. Trae Young loves it. The fans love it. That city absolutely loves Trae Young, and he said it several times now. That is his city. The Atlanta Hawks win, and Trae Young continues his incredible run. He's making a push for Rookie of the Year. There's no doubt about it.
Okay, well now it's time to vote for our winners. Our audience here, you guys cheer the loudest for whoever you think won. So if you think it's Lauren, go ahead and give it up now.
That's pretty loud. Come on, guys. Cheer!
Okay, pretty good. Okay, now if you think it was Sam, go ahead.
There we go.
Okay, results are in. So sorry, Lauren. Sam, you won another round of face-off. That's all we got for you right now, but stick with us, because whenever we come back, it's going to be time for dynamic duos. We're going to see how well these two know each other.
I'm sorry.
Welcome back. You saw that graphic. It's time for dynamic duos. Levi is going to try to answer these questions that I asked Jake as closely as he can. You feel like you're ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, well, question number 1. What is Jake's ideal first date? A, dinner and a movie. B, going to the shooting range. C, Netflix and chill. Or D, a sporting event.
He's a Marine, going to the shooting range.
We all know it's you.
All right, maybe this one will be a little bit tougher. Question number 2. What is Jake's go-to hype song before a meet? A, Bodak Yellow. B, Mo Bamba. C, Dedicated. Or D, Never Say Never.
Never say never?
Okay,
I don't know that song.
You can come back right here. So, growing up, what was Jake's favorite game to play as a kid? Was it A, wiffle ball, B, tag, C, kickball, or D, tetherball?
Tetherball.
Kickball?
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Well, that's okay. I still think you guys know each other pretty well. That's it for us tonight. Be sure to tune back in next Monday and stick with us on social